New York Attorney General Letitia James said yesterday that if Donald Trump does not pay the $353 million that he now owes the state of New York, she will gladly seize his assets, including his skyscraper on 40 Wall Street. Here is what Letitia James said about Donald Trump and his possible inability to pay the fine. She said, quote, "If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets. We are prepared to make sure that the judgment is paid to New Yorkers, and yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day. Financial frauds are not victimless crimes. He engaged in this massive amount of fraud. It wasn't just a simple mistake, a slight oversight. The variations are wildly exaggerated, and the extent of the fraud was staggering. If average New Yorkers went into a bank and submitted false documents, the government would throw the book at them. The same should be true for former presidents." And she's right. If I go into a bank trying to get a loan and I lie about my assets, my income, any of that, I don't go to civil trial. I go to criminal court and then I go to prison. Same thing with every single person watching this. Trump is lucky. And I know that's a weird thing to say when he, could be facing bankruptcy because of this, but he is lucky that they did not bring criminal charges against him on this. They could have, they should have, they were gonna. Alvin Bragg decided not to. But he would have gone to jail. And for the record, yes, we actually already would have had that trial. But it is what it is. And Letitia James is not screwing around. She's like, look, you're going to pay us. If you don't pay us, we're going to take your property. I'm going to take your most beloved possession and I'm going to sell it off at a fraction of its value to pay off this debt that you owe to the state. And here's where things get even funnier. Not only did Judge Engeron slap him with $354.8 million. There's also an additional $100 million, bringing the grand total to $454.8 million, because there's a 9% interest rate on it. And that interest rate, this is hilarious, amounts to almost $90,000 per day. So every day that Donald Trump does not pay that money, an additional $90,000 gets tacked onto it. $600,000 roughly per week that he doesn't pay. And guess what? The clock is running. So if Trump doesn't pay it today, there's an extra $90,000 on it. He doesn't pay tomorrow, another $90,000 on top of that. And yes, that clock is running, so it is starting right now. He can appeal it. He has, less than 30 days at this point to either appeal it or pay it. And if he appeals it, he has to take a good chunk of it, put it in the escrow account, which, by the way, still gets charged the $90,000 a day in interest. So if he loses the appeal, then all of that interest that was accrued during the time that he was appealing it, he has to pay. And I don't think there's a way he wins this on appeal. He may, depending on how competent his lawyers are, be able to reduce the amount, but he's not going to be able to erase the amount. And he's probably not going to be able to erase the interest either. So he's going to have to pay through the nose for this. And if he does not have that amount of cash sitting in a bank account where he can go get a, cashier's check to pay the court, then Letitia James already knows which property she's going to sell. Hell, she probably already knows how much she's going to sell them for. And that would be the most humiliating thing to ever happen to Donald Trump.